Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're from or what part of the world you're from. Welcome back to the channel. Got a really short, simple video today. Going to talk about a couple things that happened yesterday. I posted some pictures on the Facebook group, Lowrider Frame Reinforcement page. I'll show a link to that. Got some very good questions from a lot of guys, and I was kind of overwhelmed really at the response I got from just posting pictures. Forgive me, I'm getting over a really bad sinus infection, so I sound a little rough today. But anyways, I posted these pictures. I'll show those now. And the response was crazy. Guys were asking me all kinds of technical questions, which is great. I love that kind of stuff because that's what this channel is all about. That's what I'm here for. If I can help anyone out with anything, that's awesome. That's what I'm about. So I appreciate all those questions, but I figured I'd go ahead and do a video and show some guys some of the things that we were talking about and bring everybody up to speed and kind of fill everybody in. So let me get this camera flipped around. All right, so here we go. So this is kind of the stage I'm at with the front suspension mock-up. Kind of got everything bolted up yesterday, but the point of this whole entire video is the importance of mock-up, bolting things together, making sure everything fits. Like I said, I got a lot of questions from a lot of guys about the A-arms and how they bolt to the frame, mods I did to the A-arms, and just general questions. So I'll go over the big ones. The first ones that come right to the top that I can remember was lower A-arm mounts, okay? So the way this works on Impala specifically, I can't speak for 58, 59, or 60 frames, but the 61 to 64s are generally pretty much the same. The 58, 59, and 60s, they have like a different tail section on the rear, and there's a couple other things that changed over the years. But the point I'm trying to make is when you reinforce a lower control arm, you add 3/16 plate. You do your frame, you add 3/16 plate. Well, guess what? You're taking up all that space where that control arm is supposed to go. And if you saw in the previous videos, I was talking about how I didn't know how I was going to wrap the backside of that arm just yet because I didn't know if it was going to hit the frame. Well, there you go. I can probably get 2 or 3 sheets of paper between those two. And I've still got some grinding to do to take down some metal. Still got to weld those, weld that joint back there, as you can see. But, and it's the same for this side too. Okay. Sorry, there it goes, trying to focus. Anyways, it's really close tolerances, okay guys? One of the remedies for that, to help with that offset, is by reinforcing the mounting area where it bolts to the frame. Sorry, focus. There we go. So I haven't welded that plate in just yet because this is all part of the mock-up stage. For one, I wasn't sure if I needed it. Two, if I did need it, I didn't know exactly if I need to do the front side and the back side or just one or the other. Now for, being uniformed, I'll probably end up, God, this thing. Sorry everyone, it's trying to focus. Anyways, you get the idea. Back there on that bolt too, the lower mount in the rear. I'll probably end up adding a plate back there just to make them equal, but that plate, that 3/16 plate, does give you enough spacing, okay? And the other thing is on the back side. So I wasn't sure how much area I would have to play with on the back side here and over here. So I still have to weld those joints up, as you can see, but at least now I know what kind of space I'm working with. The other thing to take note is I have not put new bushings in these arms yet. This was mostly just a way for me to mock up stuff to make sure everything was going to line up. There's still quite a bit of play in the upper arms because they don't have any bushings in them whatsoever. But I'm to a point to where it's like, okay, I need to throw the brakes on the front of this car, make sure everything is in the kit that's supposed to be in the kit, make sure the spindles, everything's good, and before I progress any further, because I still have to cut the holes for the cylinders. So that's coming up soon. And I wanted to make sure all my hardware was complete. So I went online and bought a 61 to 64 bolt kit off eBay. They're on there, they're really cheap. I want to say it was like 40 bucks. And this is supposed to be like a 100-point restoration kit. Do you have to have this kit? No, you do not. But it saved a lot of time for me having to source all these bolts individually. So that was one of the big questions I got, was of course that right there. The second one I got was the upper A-arms, okay? Do the upper A-arms hit the frame? The question, or the answer to that is yes, the rear. This is no different than if stock Impala was fully extended out, okay? I know the lighting's bad, guys, bear with me. So that, you know, this arm has been reinforced and extended. I still have some trimming to do in certain areas. You can see a gap here, okay? And then of course on this side, I have no gap, because that plate, I need to come in and shave that plate down, just because of how thick I cut this. You know, there's a little overhang on the backside here that I need to trim off, which is cool. It's no big deal. That's part of the, you know, the mock-up stage. But as far as the A-arms go, yes, they will hit the back of the frame. Now, I have seen guys go to this part of the frame and notch this part of the frame out and weld tubing in. I'm not for that or against that, because I've never done it. I can't really speak on that part, but I've seen it done. I don't know that it would be something I would want to do to a street-driven vehicle. If it was a competition vehicle, that's primarily where I used to see it. You know, going through the hot pits, looking at these hoppers back in the 90s and 2000s, I would see guys do stuff like that so they could get more arm clearance. I'm not sure that I would want to do that on a street car though, but it is possible. You can do that. So that was another big question. Oh, another important part of the mock-up stage. Okay, so I've got my spindle, right? Forward, perfect. Backwards, I'm hitting my arm. Why am I hitting the arm? Well, that's because I've got some more trimming to do. But you get the idea, okay? That's the important part of mock-up. Tells you everything you need to know before you progress any further. The other thing that kind of came up that a couple guys brought to my attention is, like, if you're buying arms from somebody that's already made. So like you're gonna buy some chrome arms. Ask the seller or ask the person who's making them, what is the top side of the bottom A-arm look like? You know, has it been ground down? Has it been test fitted to a frame? Because all that stuff's important. If you go to buy a set of arms and they've never been test fitted to a frame and then they were chromed, you're kind of stuck. I mean, yeah, you could grind the chrome off, but you don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. So ask your seller, ask the guy that's making them. Try and test fit them on a frame if you can. That makes sure everything clears. Let's see, what other questions came up? I'm trying to remember. Oh, spring pocket stuff. There was a bunch of questions about that. Basically, I bought a 6-inch diameter ID pipe, and those fit the coils real nice. But of course, as you can see, I'm not fitting a full stack in there. I got to trim some couple coils off. That's the plan. Probably a coil and a half, maybe 2 at most. I'm not really sure yet. But as far as like this setup goes, I really didn't see any surprises. To be honest with you, it's just finished work that I need to do on my end. Cleaning up the arms more, all the corners. Am I gonna mold these? That's a question I was asked. I already did the tops, and to be honest with you, I kind of wish that I wouldn't have done that, but that's okay. I don't know if I'm gonna mold the bottoms. I might still. We'll see. I don't know. For spindles, that's These are just basic drum brake spindles that come, you know, on the 58 to 64s. These actually don't go in here anymore. I put those in there to protect the threads. Like I was just saying, I need to mock up my disc brake kit, so I'm gonna go get some wheel bearing grease here in a little while and take care of that so I can start mocking this kind of stuff up. But you get the idea. And then from here, once everything's cleaned up, you know, let's break it down and start throwing some paint on stuff. So that's probably what's coming up next. I know I said I got the 6-month review for the Jags plasma cutter. That video is coming for those of you who are interested in that. And of course, you guys saw I had the rear end put in this frame. I have since pulled that stuff apart because I need to put the third member in and slide the axles in and get that bolted up and bolt the rear drum brakes to that, put the wheels on it, and I want to get this frame on the ground rolling before I tear anything apart for paint, because I want to make sure that I'm just, you know, I'm safe to go at that point. Do I need to put the motor and tranny in to progress to the next step? No, I do not. It's a small block Chevy. This car was already set up for a V8. It's a Powerglide car, which I'm putting a Powerglide in it. So the stock Powerglide mount's already there. None of those mounts have changed. So that's pretty self-explanatory. If I was doing an LS style, yes, you would want to throw the motor in here, check the pan, you know, the oil pan, because there's different style oil pans for the LSs for these cars. That's a whole nother video. It's a rabbit hole, but you get the idea. So that's what I'm looking at right now. It's kind of a shot of what's going on, guys. Oh, yes, this, I'm glad I looked here. Questions I got from some guys about the pit bull mount. Pretty self-explanatory. You got your factory banana bar mount. You just duplicate it on this side, either with a factory bolt, factory mount, or fabricating one yourself. The only thing you got to do is drill the holes, and I believe they're a 7/16 hole. Okay, but nothing too shocking there. Okay, you get the idea. Really easy to do, guys. Of course, if you want to plate all that, you know, go ahead and plate that. I still may do that. A very good friend that watches the channel has recommended that to me, and we'll see. I got some metal left, just a little bit. I might throw some on there and do that area. Trying to think if anything else stands out. No, it's all looking pretty self-explanatory, other than the bushings. I got to do those. But anyways, I'm going to get you guys set up. I got a really quick speak on a topic, and then I'll cut you loose, so hang tight. So I almost forgot, one of the whole important things of this whole entire video before I get to the speak on it is to show you the movement of the suspension. Do this before you paint anything, before you chrome anything, before you engrave anything, before any final assembly. You need to be able to make sure that your suspension has full movement, full travel, okay? Both sides. That's important. That's going to tell you what's binding up. What do I got to fix and or possibly replace. So there you go. All right, so now we're going to do the speak on the topic. It's going to be a real quick one. I had to move down in the basement. It's freezing ass cold outside. It's like 19 degrees, and it's much warmer down here. So anyways, this week's speak on a topic. I'm searching YouTube, just like a lot of you do. Looking up, you know, Lowrider stuff, Impala stuff, all the time, trying to educate myself and make my build better in any way that I can by learning from someone else. And stumbled across a channel. Forgive me, I'm using my iPad as a reference because I cannot remember this gentleman's name, and I'll explain it in a minute. But I'm doing a quick search, and I'm searching like 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, all the way to 64 Impalas. And in the 1962 Impala search, I pulled up a channel called Body Repair Masawa. I hope I'm saying that, brother. If you're watching this, I got nothing to love for you, man. I'm not good with the names. It's a gentleman from Japan. He's building a 62 Impala. Pretty much a complete frame off build for the most part. I'm about 6 or 7 videos into the build now on his, watching his progress, and I'm all caught up finally. He just painted the car. But I'm watching this channel, and I don't speak Japanese. I can't read Japanese, but the content is great. It's something I'm very much interested in, and it got me thinking. I can't, like I said, I can't read or I can't speak the language, but in reality, we are speaking the same language, which is lowriders, which is the love of lowriders, the love of Impalas, these cars, the culture. To be able to connect with somebody, and there be a language barrier there, and still, in my eyes, speak the same language is pretty important. That's a pretty good feeling. I'm watching his videos. I commented on one of the videos. Hey, shout out from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, home of Dayton Wire Wheels. Love your channel. Cool videos. And it wasn't a couple hours. I got a response back that said, hey, I love your channel. I've been watching your whole entire build. And my mind was just like blown, because I'm like, man, this is so cool. I didn't realize this guy had been watching my build the whole time. I'm watching his. He's, halfway across the world, and we're speaking the same language. It's really cool. That's a good feeling to have. Like I said, his channel's called Body Repair Masawa, and forgive me, brother, I don't remember what city you're from, but if you guys get a second or get a chance, look his build up. Pretty good stuff, man. I learned a couple things from him, and I'm assuming it's his friends or a car club that's helping him with this process. But man, they do it all in this car, and like I said, I'm all caught up to where they just painted the car, so they're starting to do some assembly. So really good channel to watch. Japanese lowrider thing, I'm not going to break any ground there with showing that on this channel. If you've been in lowriding for 5 minutes, you know that Japan is big in lowriding. But what you may not know is that there's 2 major cities in Japan where lowriding is more prevalent than others, and that's Nagoya and Osaka. And I hope I'm saying those correctly. They are kind of divided, not like in a bad way, but just like the type of culture that they show with the lowriding part of it. You have one, and I don't want to mix the cities up, so I'm not even going to try. But one of them is primarily focused on like the Hispanic Chicano side of lowriding. Your Cheech and Chong, your Kragers, your 60 spoke, True Spokes. The classic 70s builds. And then the other city is primarily focused on like your 80s and 90s African American style, LA style lowriding builds. And those guys, if you know anything about the Japanese, when they get into anything at all, they're purists about it. They do everything to a T, to the way it's supposed to be. And I can appreciate that. I respect that. And as a car builder, that's hard to do, because you got to fit yourself into a tight mold. If you're going to build a car that's 70s, you want fender pumps, or you want like True Spokes or True Rays or Kragers, or and then if you're doing the 90s, LA thing, that whole look by itself is it's I don't want to say it's simple, but it's hard to replicate, because the cars are clean. They got to be clean. They got to look a certain way. They got to have factory options. There's a whole bunch of things that go along with just that. But the point I'm trying to make is that Nagoya and Osaka, that's primarily where their lowriding is based out of. I'm sure there's other places in Japan that have lowriders. That's the main 2 that I wanted to focus on. I'm not sure if this fella's from one of those cities. I cannot remember. I should have wrote this down. But anyways, check him out. Look him up. Pretty good channel. And, just keep an open mind about it. Because, like I said, we are speaking the same language. It's just in a different way. So that's my speak on it for this week. I want to thank each and every one of you for reaching out to me about the post on the Facebook Lowrider Frame and Suspension Tech page. And as always, thank you guys for the questions I get from here. And I look forward to doing more videos. So take care. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Peace. Very special shout out to Tim Frejo. and Joseph Evans and Garrett Pereira. Thank you for watching.